Hi, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the BizDev Podcast, where we're going to take a quick, hot look at the topics of the day. And today we're going to be talking GPT. I am joined, per usual, by Gary Voigt. How's it going, man?
It's going pretty good. How are you doing?
I cannot complain. So, ChatGPT, that is the new hotness. Everyone is talking about it. Last week, in particular, was a big deal. For those who are not paying attention to any of this,
For Microsoft and for Bing.
Microsoft had their big come out moment because they have spent $10 billion to have exclusive access to OpenAI, which are the people who make ChatGPT. And let me back up. So, ChatGPT is an AI bot that's been around for years. This is not new technology, it's been around. Google's been demoing it for years. They all have different names for it, but it's basically a large language model, which means they basically scrape the whole internet, or at least the public internet, and they turn it into, using magic and black juju, turn it into a prompt basically that allows you to talk to it.
So it uses the entire internet as like an encyclopedia and the biggest encyclopedia on the planet, basically. And then there's an interface to ask questions, and I guess that you can ask questions in different ways to get better answers as well. Just kind of, from my understanding, like just when you're searching stuff on Google, you can use certain keywords, you can phrase things certain ways, you can use certain special characters to get better results. And I know you can also do that in ChatGPT. There's like whole, not only like YouTube videos, but like resources and libraries of things like how to, correctly write the prompt to get the answers that you need in a certain way.
Well, before we get ahead of ourselves there, I want to back up because I think it's important to know this isn't new. Like we've been doing this for a while. What's new is OpenAI just said, let's see what happens. And they put it out there. Google has had this. The T in GPT stands for transform. Google invented that, right? So they've been doing this a long time. And they got very gun shy because a few years ago, they got slapped pretty hard by their own AI ethical researchers saying, hey, this stuff is not okay. It's not accurate. It will absolutely lie to you. And it might be really, really biased in really bad ways. And we are not comfortable with this getting out into the market. That was their own people, and that's a whole hullabaloo. But it made them very gun shy about all of this. They've done very controlled demos and stuff like that. But Microsoft invests heavily in this company called OpenAI that doesn't have any of those qualms. They don't care. It's the same problems. This thing will confidently lie to you, which is hilarious to me. But they don't have the market share that Google does, so they have nothing to lose. So they went live with it. And that's what's crazy. They just said, yeah, we don't care. Boom, here's a text box. Go crazy. And people
They do
did.
have some disclaimers for things,
Sure.
people are asking. Of course, there's always going to be the element of people to see, how quickly they could break it and make it bend to their whim and do, funny or, evil, weird, wrong things. So
It pulled back the layer of stuff that people just didn't know was possible. Like super nerds and stuff have been talking about this forever, but to have the average Joe that now hates to write, which is a lot of people, they can now go to this thing and say, write me an email, a cold email to a client in the pharmaceutical business. You can just type that in as a prompt and poof, you get this really nice email. It's very well written. It can be funny if you want it to be. It can be serious if you want it to be. It can bring up certain topics if you want it to. And it'll write a really nice little email for you. And you might need to edit it some because it will say some silly stuff. But it takes about 80 to 90% of the stuff you hate doing, which would be writing in this case, and just does it for you. So you can just imagine all the salespeople are salivating over this, all the people who have to write things that they don't want to write. It's opening a whole new world for them. And so that's why you're hearing about it. It is currently the number one downloaded or accessed app in the world. It beat TikTok, which is interesting
the
to me.
automation factor is definitely something that everybody can find useful. It's just a matter of
Yeah.
how you're going to utilize that. Like I know in certain creative writing fields and creative writing prompts, um, while it does, depending on the prompt and depending on how specific you get, there's been instances where it will return like short stories and poems and stuff like that. But a lot of the text that you're getting back is impressive at first until you do a couple, and then it seems generic because it's repeating the same patterns, repeating the same language, repeating the same like tone and stuff like that. So I guess as it's still learning, maybe it can get better. But for like what you were saying, when it comes to like the business or research side and like writing emails for cold emails or marketing emails or something like that, that's just basically generic in a sense anyway. Yeah, it's a huge time saver.
It's a real big deal, and it's going to become a bigger deal. I mean, I was telling my family because they don't know what this is, and they don't care because they don't read tech news. But this is the world changing under our feet. This is a paradigm shift that's going to, I believe, I don't think I'm overstating that, could be wrong, but I think the underlying technology here is going to be on the same level as blockchain, as the internet itself. I mean, I'm not trying to say any one interpretation of this is life changing, but the idea that, like, imagine search engines. Okay, so this is one of the big things that came out last week. So Microsoft has a developer version of Edge browser, which is their browser. Everyone uses Chrome. They have theirs. It's called Edge, and they have Bing, which is their search engine, which has been trash and a joke forever. But they said, hey, what we've got here is we are bringing that AI bot, a newer version than anything we've seen before, bringing it into this thing. So now you can have a prompt. So you can search and you can say, tell me the top 10 televisions, 4K televisions under $1,000. And it'll build a table of those top 10. Bam. And it'll source.
Where they got the information and where the links are to go get them. Yeah. Like just knowing that the AI tech underneath this is going to be everywhere soon, whether we know it or not, whether we realize
Mhm.
we're reading or getting our information from it or not, it's going to be there because it is the easiest and fastest way to generate that kind of data and content as of right
But it's going to change the web. I mean, if you think about how the web really works right now, I go to take any website besides people like New York Times or The Verge or YouTube itself. Every website requires Google to work, right? If I want someone to come to Big Pixel, thebigpixel.net, by the way, if you want them to come to us, the only way that they do that is by a Google search. Well, now Microsoft sees an opportunity that they can steal some market share, which is billions and billions of dollars. Because now I could say, find me a custom development shop. This is an AI prompt, and it will say, here's 5 custom development shops that are within your area. Boom. This changes how you did your search. If I am now looking at what is happening in Ukraine, I don't have to click on New York Times or Yahoo News or anything like that. It'll just tell me in a succinct paragraph, this is what's happening. Now, imagine now you're the New York Times or Yahoo News. No one's clicking on your stuff anymore. So why am I building this? Like jumping ahead in the future, why am I building these articles that no one's reading? Those ads are gone because the chatbot just answered all the questions. I mean, Google's been getting in trouble with this for a while. If you ask, they call them one box answers. If you type in a question like, who won the Super Bowl? They don't give you a link to ESPN. They just
now.
tell
They
you who
just give
won
you
the
the
Super
answer.
Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what this is going to do more and more of. And so the web is going to fundamentally change. Again, this is years in the making. This will take years and years and years. I'm not saying it's going to be overnight, but it's really fascinating. It's such neat tech. I mean, from us as developers, I am constantly asking the team, how can we
Well,
use this?
yeah. What can we do to somehow incorporate this into our resources to either find a way to use for clients or for ourselves or what?
Because a big part of what we do is we talk about ways to use new technologies. And so we're thinking, wow, this is a big one. How can we use it? And a lot of our clients are like, there's no way to wedge that in there. But there are some that I am constantly noodling. Now, the funny part is you can't actually use this stuff yet on a large scale. The APIs are still hiding. You have to have special access like Microsoft does. And some companies do seem to have that, but like the average developer can't do this yet because they're not available, but they will be, and then all bets are off. It'll be really, really fascinating.
Well, some companies are using it already just to generate, their day-to-day content for whether it's social media or just article stuff.
CNET got in big trouble for that.
Yeah, they got in trouble because they were publishing articles that might have said it was written partially by AI, but it was presented as if it
Barely.
was actual
Yeah.
journalism. But BuzzFeed was like, yeah, we can make the quizzes and the lists and all the other little clickbait stuff that we want to put out every day, in
Hmm.
a matter of minutes instead of paying people to do it. So
So my point of having this little quick take, hot take, whatever we end up calling this, is I just wanted to kind of nerd out a bit because I think it's going to be a big, big deal. I think the next 6 months, you're going to see just so much news. And there's going to be a lot of scams, just like,
Yeah.
because that happens with every new tech. So keep your eyes open. But a lot of scams, a lot of weird articles coming out.
Similar situation when the AI generated artwork like hit the scene,
Yep.
and everybody went up in arms like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to just change the way art is created, bought, sold, everything. It's going to ruin jobs. It's going to." And then after a couple of months of people playing around with it, you come to realize actually it takes the creativity of someone with that foresight, that vision to create like art or imagery from AI that is worth looking at past just the generic, 5 or 6 tries that people will put in a prompt and look bad. Plus the issues that they had with, like, I guess, who owns the art, where did the art come from, how close to the style is this and that. So point is, after all of this, is just like when AI art hit the scene and it blew up and then it got controversial and then they're starting to find a lot of problems with it, but yet there's still a pathway where it's going to go down and it's going to be
It'll be
largely
useful.
incorporated into our life, our digital life. The same thing is going to happen with this ChatGPT. It blew
I just
up.
think it's going to be really
Everybody said it could
interesting.
do everything. And now they're saying, well, it's not that good. This, that, or this. How are we going to use it? But then eventually that pathway is going to, clear.
I do think that the future, we're going to have new jobs of AI prompters.
Oh, for
It's,
sure.
I can't write this, but what I can do is, it's like Google Foo is something we talk about in development. People who know how good it is to use Google, they know how to ask the right questions.
Yeah, the Google Foo is the way you type in certain searches.
Some people are going to get really good at writing prompts to get exactly what they want. And so you don't have to pay the person to actually write it, but you have to pay the person for their knowledge, their talent, as it were, to prompt the AI to give you what you want.
People are selling, like, a list of prompts and the beginning prompts for the AI generated art. Like, they have a set of keywords and stuff that they've been using since they're paying for the membership to keep doing it. They're then taking
Mm-hmm.
what they're learning and putting in a file and then selling that file. Like, hey, if you want to see these really cool prompts to get this kind of artwork, $5.
LinkedIn is full of that. I see slideshow after slideshow of get killer sales emails with these 10 ideas, blah, blah, blah. And it's sign up for their newsletter, right?
I'm looking more on the design side of things and you're looking more on the business side of things, but it's basically the same exact principle.
Same scams going on. And it's, get rich quick, that kind of thing. Is make $10,000 passive income. Don't listen to any of that. This is neat technology. It's worth learning about. It's worth looking into. You can join and go to OpenAI, just search Google OpenAI and any browser, and you can sign up for free and you can play with it.
I have been. I'm trying to find a couple ways that I might be able to use it. And it's good for idea generation, I guess, in a certain way. Like, I was asking it, there was an episode that we were going to do about time management, and the guest that we were talking about, or that we were talking with that episode, um, had a little bit of a background in HR. So I kind of combined the two things and asked, like, give me a list of the top 10 things people can do for time management in the business, atmosphere or whatever. And it came back with your typical 10 ways to improve your time management, but it wrote pretty, descriptive and detailed sentences and gave a good summary and stuff. And I was able to use a lot of that just for the intro topic that we actually never used.
I told everybody Gary was a robot. Now it's just true. See, there it is.
Half robot,
Bam.
half robot. I'm like Terminator 2.5.
All right. Well, that's all we want to talk about today. We just wanted to get that out there and get our thoughts in, because I find this stuff just inherently interesting, and I will continue to keep noodling on it because I think it's fascinating.
And if this works, we're going to pepper in some of these little quick quick tips, whatever we're going to call it, in these episodes here and there, short little ones for you guys. So
Yeah. If you like this, if you're enjoying this little quick episode, let us know. Put some likes in there, little comments, and we'll keep doing them. All right. Thanks, everybody.
see ya.